determine if the page says you're in a certain area. If you're in 5 areas or a local community, you might need to actually list the area you serve, not just the address of your property. But from the standpoint of how it plays, the search engines have started to determine that certain queries mean you're shopping. And what they'll do is they'll give you answers appropriate to what you're looking for. Does that make sense? And that's automatic. That's being done behind the scenes. So sometimes you don't have to go out of your way. You just have to be appropriate for what the query is. Now, local search has 2 sides to it. On one side, if I search for Las Vegas hotels, chances are I'm not in Las Vegas. If I search for New York pizza parlors, I'm probably in New York looking for something local. And the search engines have gone way out of their way to figure that out as well. In some cases where people search for generic words, the search engine looks for where the searcher is and gives them things local to where they're at automatically. As that plays more and more, I think you're going to find that it is really an advantage, a serious advantage, for the local property to be locally ranked, because the national properties won't show up for those local words nearly as well as they did, and the local property has a much better opportunity to be well ranked.
Okay, so I guess social, there is a huge buzz on social. You should be, if you're not twittering, you should better be twittering, and you got to have a blog. So what is the impact of blogging or social media on small business, on lodging, and how can you leverage it?
You're right. There's been a lot of buzz and talk and words about social media. I think that there's several types. One of the things that most people hear about are blogs, I think. Social is bigger than blogs, but blogs are clearly a big part of it. It depends. You know, YouTube videos, are they social? Well, yeah. Do they generate traffic? Maybe. Are they branding? Probably. Are they going to get you rich? Probably not. I mean, you have to understand that curiosity is a very different thing from a motivator to cause people to buy from you or use your service. The thing that is going to happen, and what everybody should be aware of, is social is very much of a labor-intensive process. I guess that's the best way. It's a high overhead item. If you stop blogging, people stop reading your blog. If you continue to blog with good content, people will follow you. But then if you stop, they won't follow you anymore. They'll find somebody else to fill your place. So it requires a pretty consistent, dedicated resource. You have to do it every day or every other day maybe. And you have to have something appropriate to blog about. I would think if you were in the hotel business, you'd have to blog about local events. You'd have to blog maybe about the weather. You'd have to blog about, by the way, here's the last travel hint. This is the last person that came in and where their luggage actually went on their way here. You know, make it an entertaining, interesting, educational process, and people will love it. And they'll tell 2 friends every once in a while. They may become a follower. Twitter is another thing that's coming on real big. There's Facebook. There's, as we all know, there's MySpace. MySpace was the rage, and now I hardly ever hear it mentioned. So people are somewhat fickle. 10 years ago, AOL, chat rooms. Everybody lived there. Now, who talks about AOL? It isn't as big, it isn't as popular, because people have moved on to other things that are current and a bigger buzz. I think that all the social mechanisms that are out there today, a year from now we'll be sitting here saying, oh, do you remember blogs? Or do you remember newsletters? Or do you remember Twitter? I mean, Twitter may be gone, or MySpace may be totally gone, or people may be talking about other kinds of social environments. I think that the people that like social are the kind of people that like networking. And people like networking are involved in a community. And people in that community, if you can serve that community, that's how your site is going to win. So you just have to pay attention to it. Do you do social? I think everybody should. I'm even doing it on my site a lot. I have dedicated staff doing my blog. I'm big into it. We have live blogging here at the conference. I'm big into it. You're here socially. Yes. So I think that we find that in every community there is an appropriate amount of social interaction, but just understand it is a high maintenance. It is high involvement. You start it, you do it, people love you. You stop, people hate you, and they go on to somebody else. And right. So it isn't as good as SEO. SEO, you can start once you've earned your ranking. You have to just maintain it. Social, you start once you have a following. You're stuck. So you're going to be there doing it a lot. Now, if you enjoy it, and go for it. ROI of it. If you can determine that you're getting traffic and sales and return on your social investment by the people that visit your site and things like that, by all means consider that.
Great. So I guess we are almost at the year end, and it's a time for us, all of us, to put together New Year resolutions. So what should be the New Year resolutions for small businesses, hotels? What should they be focusing on? There's so much to focus.
Well, I think that we're going to find, I'll tell you what I think. I think that hotels have to focus on videos and more engaging items on their website. People are going to want to be entertained a little bit more by your website. They're going to want to engage with your website a little bit more. That's a spillover from blogs to a certain degree. People like blogs because they can answer your website as opposed to just read your website. And I think video is a very big part of that. Google's made a lot of statements about video being more important, images being more important, engaging items, what we call engagement objects on your website is very important to helping you. I think that that's something that everybody should look at. Even if it's you know, the morning weather taken from your lobby on a 2-minute video and you put it up on your website, you should do something to become more engaging at a video level. Soundtracks are fine as well. You can find all sorts of information. You can interview guests that are really doing well, that just love your place, and interview them and put them up and let people see that. Some of the conferences that you might have, or the weddings, or the things that are events that are in your area, you can record that and, you know, show 15 seconds of the realtors coming in and 20 seconds of the Chamber of Commerce coming in, and the Rotary and the people that are event drivers within your hotel. Just take 15 seconds of video and then move it all together and show your hotel as being more of a gathering place and more entertaining and more of the kind of place that reputable firms use on a day-to-day basis. So I think video is going to be a big part of it. I think everybody should make that their resolution. Should you continue to improve the content on your site? Absolutely. Links? You're always going to develop links. Links have a tendency, if you leave them alone, they go away. So you have to develop links. But the best way to develop a link really remains to be have something worth linking to, and people will link to it, and they'll link to it longer. If you are fighting and your site is just like the other sites in the neighborhood, well, why would they link to yours? So you have to come up with creative ways of providing content that nobody else does. Right? The morning highway report, or the morning weather report, or the morning, this is our take on the news that's in the paper, Comedy Central style. You can do all sorts of 2-minute things. You can have a lot of fun with it, and let people link to you. I think you can have a lot of fun.
Great, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking out time, Bruce, and all the best for next year. And we'll see you in Chicago.
See me in Chicago. In Chicago in the winter.
I know. I just cannot believe that. But we'll see you in